I wanted to talk about hurdles this morning because you're going to run into those as well. I've run into a million hurdles trying to get anything done. Technical hurdles, physical hurdles, life hurdles. It's a grind to get a project done. Um, it's daunting. You will find yourself sometimes you're like, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. This goes wrong, that goes wrong, this goes wrong, and you become discouraged. When you face that barrier, that hurdle in front of you, and you say, you're gonna have to sometimes walk away for a day, um, or come up with a solution to solve it right away. Meaning, what does that mean? Let's say it's a technical hurdle. My first movie, the reason I got into Da Vinci is because I was using Power Director, which was good enough for me. I couldn't print a DNX file, which is what the file they needed for the distribution of the film. Did not know that yet, but that was the original problem. Was my audio was being printed out of sync. So as the movie would get longer and longer, I noticed, I was like, wait a minute, the audio's not in sync. Went back and forth with the company, couldn't figure it out. It worked if I printed an H.265. Then it was a Windows problem, a PC. Why don't you just get a Mac? I mean, the whole back and forth. So I printed. I was able. Here I was, ready to go do this. How do I do it? So I printed an H.265, which is a highly compressed file. Brought it into Da Vinci, which I downloaded at that moment, and then printed a DNX HD from the H.265. That is sustainable life. That's how that was done. No, you can't do it. That's how I had to do it. You find yourself solving. See, I have an analog brain because I'm an old man and I've been doing, we'd make sound effects in the studio. We didn't download things. You use reel-to-reel tapes, that's what I'm talking about. But you would solve problems that way. Oh, well, this doesn't work. You'd had a console that was, 32 channels, and the channel would fry out. Okay, unplug it and use the next channel. On stage, I would have two of everything. Working on, hot. Two guitars plugged into two amplifiers, hot. Exactly the same sound, exactly the same pickups on the guitar, exactly the same guitar. I mean, I learned from experience that you had to be able to, being on stage, solve a problem immediately. You can't say, okay, time out, we have to redo it, the laptop crashed, it was live, you broke a string, you played through it, your amp fried, you turned around, you hit the other one on, you picked up the guitar, and you were off. That's how it was, and I brought that with me to this. So the software didn't work, download a new software. Well, how do I get the only movie I can get to print was an H.265. This is what I had. Bring it into Da Vinci. Was able to print the DNX file. Upload, there it is. It's streaming everywhere today. So technical things like that can happen. On the set of The Hid, the days, it was difficult to do in between life. We would have life events happening. It's me, my wife, and my son, and I'm a school volunteer. I'm a basketball coach. The kid's sick that day. this happens, that family member is having an issue, or this happens in the world, or this breaks in the house. I can't film today. It was very difficult to. That's why my projects are what they are, and that's why, like I said before, is that you have to write for your situation. I said that in a podcast interview that I did the other week. You have to accept your situation and don't be outside of your ability to do anything. Sometimes life events change. Sometimes your equipment fails. Sometimes your location fails. But anyway, during the hit, the couple days that I was able to squeeze in the shoots, and I'm paying people to come from New York City, and you have one shot, and I hate having one shot, because rescheduling people an independent project is not fun. So, for example, we're shooting, and then we get this. All of a sudden, the day that I have to shoot, they're doing major construction across the street from my house, from the location. I'm talking hole diggers, backhoes, beep, beep. I mean, it was horrible. So I had to, okay, this is what we're going to do, guys. Not only is it all of a sudden a heat wave and it's 92, 96 degrees in here and we're supposed to be cold. Now we hear all these construction vehicles outside. Okay, let's make it okay. They're trying to do something at the leg. Make it part of the story. The interesting part is sometimes when you do things, you almost wonder if it's meant to be. The lights go out. The first time in the movie where the lights are out, you distinctly hear, which it sounds like a generator kicking on at that moment, which would play into the movie, and like you almost added it in. It was across the street, their hole digger. They started up the hole digger at the exact time that the lights went off and a generator would have kicked on. You can hear it in the movie, and it's totally awesome. Another thing, things that just accidentally happen. The opening scene, you hear prop planes. This is 1968. Opening scene was shot during a small little airport. Prop planes. So in 1968, this is what you would have during the creation of this reservoir. So there's a lot of construction. There's planes, there's maybe press, looking at, who knows? It would be. So it's like, wow, it fits the story. It plays. When Jake has the experience and speaks French, when I shot that with him, it was such a great scene. I had to come back. I said, I need this shot of you instead of just that perspective. So I was lucky to have him come back. It was before he left. It's a lot, this is all going to be backstory that I'm going to get into about making of the hit, but I'll just tell you because it's something that happens on the fly, or things that happen. You're like, it works out. He completes his line, and you hear I live next to a train. The train tracks are in the back. And they'll blow a horn if someone's working on the track. You can hear it on the track. It's almost like, it's so eerie to hear it. It's like I added it and I did not. This is true to life. When I was shooting the recreation of the interview with Helen Shire in her dining room, we're in the middle of the scene. There's a major lightning storm that's happening. Now, I don't think it really picks up, but it created such the mood for, the scene and, the acting. It was like you couldn't plan it. So things happen. Oh, another creepy thing. Marla, when she comes at the end, and Samantha's in the chair, slumped over. you hear this very high pitch, like eerie, almost like a whistle sound. Like I added it was so good when I heard it. What it is a high flying jet over location, and it's like I can't make this stuff up. I mean, this is the sounds I would have used. The suicide tape that we hear from Shane Dakota. You can hear the scratching of the tape reels. That's really the scratching of the tape reels. It's not piped in. I piped in the actual interview through speakers so that the audience and the actors are hearing this for the first time. We're going to get into why I did all this, but like I said, I shot like a play. All this was happening. This is not piped in. The actors were hearing this for the very first time. They had to respond for the very first time. They're hearing that those reels, that suicide. It was originally in the book. The Hid's a book, by the way. It was a suicide letter that they find. But I said, well, I have these reels, and they're from 1972. I have TAC. I have a whole bunch of goodies. It weighs a ton, and it was sitting on the shelf. And I was like, I got rid of the Marshall stacks and everything that was been in here, but I have these gigantic, heavy reels. I just couldn't pick it up to take it up and put it in the attic. I said, well, why don't I use it? Wouldn't that be cool? Instead of a letter, he recorded it, because we have reels. I bring out an old master reel from a Sister Carol band, the first big band I was in back in the late 70s, 80s. You know, by accident, I realized when I saw the cutback of the movie that what the tape was. I'm like, oh my God, that's that's the master reels. You know, wishful thinking. I mean, you know, it's insane that that's what I grabbed. But anyway, so what the cameras are picking up, what the audio in the room is picking up, is the sound of the really happening. This is not piped in. The sound of those reels scratching are the sounds of the reels scratching. I'm not piping that in. And that was the fun of it, is sometimes you just kind of go for things, make it organic, but things go wrong. One of the shoots, you know, Dee let me know. She goes, oh, I don't, did you send me the script? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I didn't check with her to see if she had the latest script. I had that Sony 5100 ready to go with a disc, a SD card in it. And she picked, I said, you know what? You're doing a YouTube channel. Maybe you can do a little, you know, ad-lib stuff. And she was brilliant. That's 100% D, what you see on the 5100. That's 100% D, and that's the beauty of talent, to just go, and it made such a big impact of the film. So sometimes mistakes, accidents, things out of your control, life events that stopped you from doing it, maybe it's all part of the plan. Maybe it shouldn't have been shot that day, it should have been shot this day. Maybe what you thought was so stressful turned out to be a blessing. So don't look at each hurdle as a potential hurdle. Look at it as a piece of the map, of the treasure map to take you to your treasure, your project. Let it just guide you around. Don't go off, I can't do this doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. Just kind of guide yourself through all the problems. You might be surprised what it does for you instead of to you. That's it.